This recipe for grilled eggplant parm has a great smoky flavor, plus it's simpler to make and healthier than the traditional dish that's made with fried eggplant. Start by removing the ends and slicing 2 large globe eggplant in half. Then stand each half up and cut them into planks about 1/3 of an inch thick. This recipe will make plenty for 5 people, but you can add a third eggplant if you're serving it for more. Spread out the slices on a couple baking sheets and drizzle a little bit of olive oil over each piece along with some salt and rub that in evenly. Then flip them over and repeat the process. Typically, you would pre-salt the eggplant to remove any bitterness and excess moisture, but I find this to be unnecessary when grilling eggplant because the aggressive heat and charring from the grill will do the same thing. Now preheat your grill while we start the sauce. In a medium-sized pot on medium-low heat, add a few tablespoons of olive oil along with a couple crushed garlic cloves and a good pinch of crushed red pepper. Break up the garlic with a wooden spoon, and after it's slightly golden, reduce the heat to low and pour in a large can of crushed tomatoes. Give that a good mix in with the oil and toss in a small pinch of salt. Add a splash of water to the tomato can and pour that in along with a stem of basil leaves. Let that simmer on low while we grill the eggplant. You want the grill to be very hot, ideally somewhere between 450 and 475 degrees, but it's okay if it fluctuates. Lay out the eggplant so they don't overlap. Depending on how many eggplant you cut up and the size of your grill, you might need to do 2 batches, which is fine because they go quick. Once all the eggplant is on, close the lid and let them cook for about 4 to 5 minutes. But you'll want to check the ones in the back first since they'll cook faster. After they have some solid grill marks, flip them over and cook for another 3 to 4 minutes on the other side or until they're soft and nicely charred. You can remove them onto the same baking sheet we used to prep. You'll probably need to stir the sauce halfway in between cooking the eggplant, but once you're all done grilling, give it another stir and add a pinch of salt and pepper to taste. I like to add a small pinch of salt when you first cook the tomatoes, let it reduce, and then add some more if necessary at the end. Lastly, pick a handful of basil leaves and cut up about 6 ounces of low moisture mozzarella into small cubes, which will melt better than fresh mozzarella. Also, finely grate about 6 ounces of good Parmesan cheese. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees and start assembly with a coating of sauce in a large baking dish. Then add a layer of eggplant and try to make sure there are no gaps, so you can break some slices into smaller pieces if needed. Then add a layer of mozzarella and Parmesan cheese. Next, add a few more spoonfuls of sauce that you can slightly spread out with the back of the spoon. Then drop in some basil leaves before the rest of the eggplant. Finally, another round of mozzarella and the last layer of sauce, and finish with the rest of the Parmesan cheese. Place it in the center of the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until the top is very golden brown and crispy. Let it cool for at least 10 minutes before slicing into it and enjoying.